I thought I was a business owner, but it turned out I only owned a job. I believe most people do have a desire to own their own business at some point in time in their life. And I think that a lot of people dream of owning a restaurant or a boutique or starting their own retail store or maybe service business. It takes a lot of courage and effort to step out there on faith and start a business. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've owned many different businesses in my life. And I've owned sole proprietorships, general partnerships, LLCs, and even a corporation at one time. While each of these types of business structures are different and they each have their own advantages and disadvantages, the most popular type of business to start is a sole proprietorship. It's the easiest and probably the least expensive type to start. And one of my personal successes was a business that I had for about 10 years, and it was a sole proprietorship. I owned a retail computer store. You know, I'd always dreamed of owning my own business, and when I opened my computer store, I kind of thought my dream had come true. I had a real brick and mortar retail storefront. I remember thinking how great it was going to be my own boss. What I didn't seem to realize is when you're a sole proprietor, you wear many hats. Your job description is everything from janitor to store manager. You do all the jobs. You know, I did all the ordering of the product and handling the inventory and waiting on the customers, repairing computers, building computers, all the outside sales and service and delivery, and it was everything, vacuuming the floors, straightening the shelves. All that was my job. I had to do all of it. So as one person, I'm doing everything. Owning your own business seems like it would be freeing, allowing you to have more time with your family and friends and to do things that you would like to do. I found that nothing could be further from the truth, especially in the beginning. When I started my business, I was working 70 hours, 80 hours a week, and it was a lot of late nights and weekends, and it was just very time consuming to get a business off the ground, especially a new business. I started my business thinking I was going to have more free time and make more money, and hopefully a lot of money. In my mind, business owners were the ones who made the big bucks. And my goal was to be financially free and, spend more time with my family. But unfortunately, that wasn't the way it worked out. I was working so many hours and I was paying myself so little that if you actually divided that out, I was probably just barely making a little above minimum wage. While you might think when you own your own business that you don't have a boss and you work for yourself, that's not really true. The customer is your boss. And without the customers, we don't have a business. So yes, you have to listen to those unreasonable demands sometimes, and you have to try to satisfy them the best you can. In some ways, customers can be very demanding, probably even more demanding than a regular boss. When you're in business for yourself, your customer is your boss. And believe me, when their computer was, down and needed to be repaired, they want it back quickly, especially if they're using it for business or work or whatever, and they didn't want to do without it for a long time, and they're going to be on you to get it fixed quickly. While I thought I was gaining some freedom with the ability to work for myself and not have to answer to a boss, I soon found out that when you own a retail store, you have to be there every day. You have hours. We were open 10 to 6. We had to be there every day. Somebody had to open the store, had to close the store. And if the work didn't get finished, someone had to stay late and finish it. And that was me. So there's a lot of demand for your time. It's very, time consuming to own your own business, especially a retail type business where you have to be there certain hours every day. One day I finally came to the realization that I didn't own a business, I just owned a job. I realized I was only trading my time for dollars. And that's what you do with a normal job. When you go work for somebody else and you're getting paid by the hour, that's what you're doing. You're trading your time for dollars. And I didn't want that. I wanted financial freedom. I wanted to be able to do things that I wanted to do. I knew I had to change something. And so I started looking around, and I had already started something, and it kind of popped in my mind, a venture that I had done a little bit earlier. About 2 or 3 years into my computer business, I got into another venture on the side. I bought a duplex, and I realized I'd had this duplex about 6 years or so, and I had done very little with it. I mean, it was easy to manage, and it was profitable, and you know, it was easy to take care of, wasn't a big deal, and I was doing it completely on the side, and I was making a good little profit with it. So I started looking at that, and I started comparing it to what I was doing now with my business. I decided to compare my two businesses. I had my computer business over here, and I had my rental business over here. On the computer side, I had inventory to manage, and I had to tie up money in inventory. On the rental side, I didn't have any inventory. On the computer side, I had a business that had to be run from a retail location. I had rent, and I had utilities and all these other expenses involved with opening and maintaining an actual physical location. With a rental property, I could run it from home. To start the computer business, it took thousands of dollars worth of cash to get started. And the rental business took a few $1,000s, but that's it. I didn't have to put any more money in it. It took me the down payment to buy the property is all I ever put in of my own cash. Afterwards, it paid for itself. The computer business was a full-time business. I had to be there from open to close every day, 5-6 days a week. And I was usually there early and stayed after, usually a couple of hours every day. On the other hand, the rental business, part-time. Probably only a few, 5 to 10 hours a month maybe working on that, if that. The hours were not flexible with the computer store. I had to be there during the open hours from 10 to 6. The rental business, very flexible on the hours. The only time that you didn't have that was if you had an emergency. But otherwise, if someone calls and the faucet's, dripping or something, you can kind of schedule that whenever. Now, if you got a water pipe busted or something, you've got to get out there right away. Taxes. When it comes to taxes, the retail store, I had a business tax. I had a personal property tax. I had to pay sales tax. I was taxed on everything. On the rental property, I had a property tax, and that was it. And you also get the ability to depreciate that property over time, which is a benefit to you on your personal income tax. So there's a lot of tax advantages to owning rental property, even more so than owning a business. Retail requires selling of products or services. Now, it's all about sales. Really, if you can't sell, then you're not going to have much of a business in the retail world, because it's all about how you can sell to customers. And that usually requires a lot of advertising or word of mouth, and you bring customers in and you sell them. Now, if you're selling a high-ticket item like I was selling computers, you're not going to sell them a computer every day or every week. It's probably going to be once every 2 or 3 years that you sell them a computer. And so it's a high-ticket item. And so they come in and then you don't see them for a while. And you don't have necessarily a regular customer base like you would in some other businesses. But in the rental side, you do. You sign a lease, and for at least the first year, every month they get an income. The same money's paid in every month for at least a year, and then after that, we either go month to month or your lease renews or whatever, and you have an opportunity to even raise the rent if you want to. But it's a lot easier, and you've got that steady stream of passive income coming through with no selling. Barrier to entry. On the retail side, if you've got a product or service or any kind of business where you've got a retail location, you've got to have a certificates of occupancy, you've got to get business license, you've got to go through all these, jump through all these hoops, and it costs a lot of money to get in, with deposits and getting your electricity turned on and all these things to get the doors open so that you can do business. And so there is a high barrier to entry. With a rental property, not really. You just have to be able to qualify for a loan or have the cash to buy the property, and then you place an ad and say, hey, I want to rent this place, and there you go. Not a high barrier to entry to get into, so it's easy to get started. So after comparing these two business models, I decided that I really needed to move on from the computer business and start looking and focusing my efforts on doing something in the real estate world. Like the video stores and record stores of the 80s and 90s that I remember growing up, the computer business during the early 2000s had kind of run its course. I decided after 10 years in business that it just wasn't worth it to keep going. and I had to focus my efforts where I could get the most return. And so I decided to close my store, and I went into the real estate business. I started looking for properties to buy and to invest in, and that's what I've done. Over the last 15 years or so, I've bought multiple properties, and I have a growing, successful real estate investment company now, and it's making a lot more money, and I'm able to do that with little effort on my part. I mean, I still have to work from time to time, and I have to manage things, but it is nothing like I was having to do when I was owning a retail store. You know, I'm no longer trading time for dollars, and I have a real business where that if I walk away and I want to go on vacation or I need to do something else, I've got people that handle my maintenance, and I've got people that can answer, you know, questions and handle things. It pretty much runs on autopilot. And I can, with today, with cell phones and a laptop, I can handle just about anything from anywhere. I can be on the beach and get a phone call and say, hey, my plumbing's leaking or whatever, and I just make a phone call and say, hey. Or actually, on our system, we just make a task, and it sends a message out to my maintenance guy and tells him where to go and gives him the phone number and the contact information for the tenant, and it's very easy to do. So with a little software and a little technology, I can manage my properties from anywhere in the world. And so it doesn't take a lot of my time and effort. Over the last 10 or 12 years, I've continued to invest and to grow and to build a successful real estate investment company. So I now have a real business, and I own a business and not just a job. Sole proprietors and small retail shop owners are not the only ones who fall into this dilemma of owning a job. So your professionals get in this trap too. And so they soon realize that, hey, while I'm a doctor or a lawyer, I have to be there. I have to trade my time or my knowledge for those dollars. And I can't just walk away. I can't just go on vacation for a week and make money. You know, if a doctor, he's out of the office for a week or 2 weeks, he's not making any money because he's not doing surgeries. He's not seeing patients. He has nothing to bill for. Same thing with a lawyer. If he's gone, he's not, you know, communicating with people. He's not billing people. So, you know, those type of jobs, while they make high income and while they are professional, they still fall into you own a job. You're trading time for dollars. So how do you know if you have this dilemma? If you own a business that will run smoothly when you're away, if you're on vacation or you're out of town and everything runs smoothly and you continue to do business and generate revenue, then you own a real business. If you own a business when you go out of town, the business shuts down, or there's no billable hours, or there's nothing going on, and you find out that you're trading your time for dollars, then you own a job. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button. And if you'd like to see more, subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to hit the bell for notifications so you know when we release new videos. And if you'd like more information on real estate investing, go to retirerichwithrealestate.com. Until next time, I'm Paul Price, teaching you how to retire rich with real estate.